So my name is Julius Lele. I'm a student, a third year student at Daystar University. And basically the interview is about media concerns. There's a growing concern basically about how organizations no longer exist to report factual and pro-people news. But before I proceed the interview, I just want to give you an opportunity so that you can also introduce yourself as we proceed.
Okay, my name is Ndemo Stephen. I'm a journalist. I work with local-based mainstream media in Kisii County. It's known as Ndizi TV. And at the station, I work as a sports editor. Equally, I double up as a sports anchor, news anchor, and equally as a field reporter. And I've been working with it for 3 years now. And I'm a graduate from Multimedia University, bachelor's degree in journalism, graduated in the class of 2022.
That's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Demo. So basically, let me just proceed. There's a growing concern that news media organizations no longer exist to report factual and pro-people news, acting there as a watchdog for the public, defending the ordinary citizen against abuses of power by adding graft and scandals. Instead, they exist to make money in abuse of their ethical and sacred responsibilities bestowed to journalism professionalism. Significantly, ethical considerations have become a major concern among media practitioners, resulting in a moral panic among news media stakeholders. It's the fact that journalists face a number of constraints, which include pressure from owners, poor terms of employment and remuneration, media competition, harassment by politicians, poor scheme of service, the rise of citizen journalism and bloggers, inability to enjoy their professional freedom, to play the watchdog role, and help expand democratic space. So basically, that is just an overview of what we are going to talk about. And maybe if I may proceed, the first question will be, I just want to understand, maybe from your understanding, maybe from your observations, what are the ethical concerns, basically in media, as much as you work in your station, perhaps in the industry, what are the ethical concerns that probably comes across your mind? Yes, please.
I think as a journalist, part of the ethical concerns that are in the industry, of course, ethics deals with the professionalism of journalists. Yeah, part of the ethical concerns, I believe you've highlighted them, is that today it's difficult in the industry for a journalist to become unbiased in as much as they know the ethical concern that you need to be unbiased, but there are systemic challenges that impair you becoming unbiased or making you to be neutral, which lead you to become in a way biased, but I believe we'll explore moving forward. That one is one of a bigger ethical concern. And then a second ethical concern is on the fact checking. Today, I think it's difficult, again, in the media industry, especially the mainstream, for journalists to do more fact checking, because you realize that either a journalist will do a story shallowly, or if it calls for the journalist to go an extra mile again, they'll opt to pull out of that story or following up that story, because again of the systemic challenges that limit journalists to go an extra mile as far as maybe extreme fact checking pops up in. That's also a bigger ethical concern around it. I think another ethical concern again is that maybe indecent dressing, again probably to do with around again systemic challenges, again maybe limit journalists to become more maybe professionally dressed depending for the professional assignments. Many journalists opting to maybe opt for casual dressing vis-a-vis the maybe official dressing for formal concerns. Again such that we'll explore further, I believe, in the subsequent question. Again, that one is another ethical concern. Another ethical concern again around the issue to do with the journalism. Yeah, it's also around the media owners maybe finding a foundation that makes a media house to have maybe balanced coverage of stories. Yeah, because of, I believe again you highlighted it in the introduction, because of the commercialization, stiff competition. Somehow it forces maybe media houses to opt to lean. They are either pro-left or pro-right, because probably you wish to be where you may be strategic to gain a few media fortunes from them, maybe to cushion you from the running bills. And therefore you find that now again it becomes difficult for the media house as an entity by the owners to be as neutral or as balanced or as objective as it should be. It ends up leaning, maybe if it favors them, and like becoming be a neutral. So I believe those are a few of the basic ethical concerns around the running of the media houses.
Thank you so much for that clarification. Maybe if I may ask this one, perhaps in your organization, as much as you faced these particular challenges, and like, is there a way, maybe perhaps those who are in leadership of the organization can overcome these challenges? Especially, I believe there's an issue when it comes to commercialization, and the fact is perhaps media houses, the reason why even the managers will be able to give in and perhaps allow journalists not to practice their independence is the fact that perhaps they receive some advertisements. But is it really possible for an organization to be free so that you can report anything you want to report freely, or it must be influenced again by the same managers? Yeah.
You asked whether it's possible for journalists probably on the low level of management to work freely without influence from the management. From where I see it, based on the case study of probably where I am, which is a common story for many journalists around, I believe it's not easy as we may wish to say that it's probably possible. It may not be that easy because, okay, here is instance one. Probably you're working on an investigative story, you've been tipped it today, you followed on it today. So probably as a journalist, for you to unearth it, maybe you need to follow that specific story maybe for 3-4 more times for you to be able to find out the full story. Then the media's, let's assume it's to facilitate you, will look at the cost of facilitating you 3-4 times for a specific story. They'll not see the economic value of it, and therefore they'll opt not to facilitate you for that story. So even if you are a journalist maybe following up on a rape case or a fraud, you will end up giving up midway. That is instance one. Still on the same instance, you'll be following up on it. You'll be following up on it, and then you feel, as a journalist, I've not found all the facts to make this story be ready to go on air. There are a few loose ends. Again, it happens of the same story with the competition, and even along the mainstream competition from maybe colleague mainstream media houses. There is the onset of the bloggers and even the independent YouTube content creators. They'll run up with this story half-baked. They'll break it to make it as a scoop. Therefore, your media house will be in a dilemma whether should they release this story which is not fully baked to go out. Should they release it also them? They can release it as a scoop to give them leverage in their competition market, or they should opt to follow it up to the end, then release it when it's now formally confirmed. Therefore, again, the media house will prefer to publish this story half-baked, but it goes out as a scoop because now the mainstream media, in fact, they'll just get it and publish it. They'll not even wait for the main bulletin news. For them, they're the online media. But now, for your media house, if it waits the same, the online will take the credit, because now currently the industry it's a free market currently. It's not like a market that has maybe many gatekeepers or many standard policies. Nowadays, you don't, provided you have got a phone, you are a reporter or you are a journalist that way. Therefore, again, it becomes difficult again for such gatekeeping to be done, as much as someone may wish to do it again. Again, makes the media houses not to have that free hand of making it to be free. Maybe that one again, I'll maybe talk it towards the tail end. Probably again, this far that we are in, the CAK, the Communications Authority of Kenya, and the Media Council of Kenya, somehow again, they've made us again anyway to be in this trouble that we are in, because again, in a way, they have stopped doing their regulatory role and just made it to become a free market, whereby maybe anyone who applies to open a media house outlet freely, provided they have the funds, they'll be registered. Therefore, we have so many media houses, you cannot even know which one is genuine, which one is not. And equally, again, the giving room by the MCK that anyone who applies for the MCK card can be given whether they studied journalism or not, again, equally has led to this influx. And also, lastly, even the Ministry of Education also, by giving leeway whereby anyone, even if they got a C minus, a D plus, again, they can just study journalism or media thing, whereby they don't have to go to the university. Okay, you are in Dexter. Okay, I went to multimedia. They are reputable media houses. They are reputable media houses. But now you'll come out here, whereby you are finding anyone with a camera is calling himself a journalist. Anyone with a Facebook page is calling himself a journalist. Anyone with a YouTube channel is calling himself a journalist. And there is nothing that maybe the government, the regulator is doing to fish out them, unless for very, 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 very rare instances. But majority of them, you'll be calling with them in the field. Therefore, it becomes difficult even for you to follow all the professional ideals you've been taught vis-a-vis. You are just here right here with the person who's just all about breaking this news insensitive, not aware it's an accident, all that. Therefore, you find that it's like a jungle. And that also in a big way has made us to be here where we are, whereby maybe 15 years ago, when the media was not this much a free market, when we knew it's all about Citizen, KTN, and NTV, there was a bit of gatekeeping, professionalism, because there was not that much competition from unprofessional journalists or even unverified media outlets. Today, there's just an influx, and therefore it now becomes difficult to separate maybe the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, sure. That's perfectly answered. So maybe there's another perhaps issue that maybe most journalists face, and that is in terms of pay. Perhaps there are those maybe media houses like poor payment, of course, is perhaps is a big issue. Do you suppose maybe payment affects your work, your professionalism? If you're not really paid well, does it affect how you disseminate your journalism work?
Around the issues of pay, yes. Again, it's a big impediment also to professional journalism. Again, because earlier on I told you, like, let's say when you've got you're underpaid. Number one, it makes you to become gullible or susceptible to accept the brown envelopes in the field, and we know from what we studied, the brown envelopes in a way may impair your we are told that you can receive them but still report professionally. But now if someone is underpaid and then they get a brown envelope, therefore automatically the temptation will be very high, probably for you to tilt the angle of the story in favor of the one who gave the brown envelope. Therefore, that one is one impediment. Then impediment two around the amount of pay is that you can only produce what you consume. And therefore, in as much as you learned so many media skills, probably in the 4-year study, if it was a degree, or even in the maybe 5 semesters in the diploma, around 3 years in the diploma, all those skills, but now you paid meagerly. It's very difficult for you to observe all those bit what you studied in the media law, in the professionalism, in how to write a story, in how to fact check, in how to follow the APS system, all that. Again, you realize that you can only produce what you consume. Therefore, by virtue that the journalists they consume less, majority of them, then whether their morale, their synergy is a bit low, and this also impairs their productivity. Maybe so that we have the issues that we're discussing right now. So that one, yes, they pay. That one it limits. Then secondly, again, the pay limits the objectivity, because the pay limits the objectivity, because when you have got a comfortable salary, you can work comfortably in the field, knowing that the expenses to meet, you can equally meet them. You have that extra time to sit on your good laptop, do the research, fact check on what are the previous publications around the things that I'm doing, which statistics can I quote, I'm working on, like, because you have got all to go that professional way, because what you are earning is an appreciative of the effort you made to have maybe the degree or the certificate that you have. So if that you are earning meager, therefore you'll just prefer to go for the flat story that you just report what you got in the field, because you're already demoralized, and therefore again that becomes another weakness. And then another one, you find that the media houses, once you'll be out, you realize that they don't have much regard on the job group. You'll find that you are there, you are a degree holder, you're working hand in hand, same department, same roles with a certificate holder, probably you're running the same salary. Therefore, you'll find that already doesn't appreciate your effort, doesn't appreciate that maybe you have got professional leverage over person X, but all of you will just be clustered together. Therefore, automatically, there'll just be systemic challenges in the department and even in the field, because that we are colliding with, and like you had got the fair share that is equivalent maybe to your job group. Therefore, again, those becomes impediments around the salary or remuneration affecting what you want. Maybe lastly, again another thing, again, it's a free market again. It's not like maybe the Law Society of Kenya, the lawyers or the doctors or per se. Per se, like maybe we have got a flat rate of the floor price and the ceiling price for journalists that let's say for medical interns, you've been hearing that a medical intern enters the field probably is earning around 50,000 before they are confirmed. But now for media, it's a free market. Like it's a completely a free market. No one is right, no one is wrong in terms of this aspect whereby they've made the media to become a free market, whereby anyone is running randomly. Again, just makes the result, the performance to be randomly good. No one is fighting for you, therefore you just work randomly.
Okay, thank you. Maybe have you maybe witnessed this artificial intelligence, the AI? Is it like affecting maybe your work? If you can give a quick response to that.
Okay, in terms of for me AI, I can say like probably for me AI personally, and maybe it's just making work easier for me. It's supplementary to me. It's supplementary to me, but probably yes, in other media houses, yes, AI turns out to maybe to compete the mainstream workers, because it does roles that maybe another human being would have done, or more human beings could have done. But now with the introduction of AI, now it limits the human beings who could have done that. Therefore, it means it cuts on the workforce. And then by virtue of it not being human, probably it's now a system in just having the system right. For instance, let's say there is maybe live streaming. In the past, maybe could be done with a laptop. Then there are maybe 3 camera people, and then maybe there is someone working on the camera laptop, someone working on the cabling and everything. But now, right now, there's the introduction of the YOLO box. Now, with the YOLO box, just one person can operate a camera, and equally they're also operating the live stream feed. Therefore, it's cutting on the personnel, and even cutting up on the personnel, and even the weaknesses and strengths that come with human beings being the ones doing it are now being replaced with machines.
Sure. Maybe another one. Perhaps I'm sure somehow you could have covered the stories about the government. Do they really welcome true journalism, or rather they just give the yellow envelopes, perhaps not to report on some significant cases which might affect perhaps the politicians?
On that, the government, I believe it's not ready to welcome positive journalism, whereby, how can I say it, whereby I may not even fault them, because everyone is taking care of their job. But now at media house, when you give, really, it acts as checks and balances the government, calling something whether it's right or wrong by virtue of what happened and how it happened. But now government believes that media is it's more a marketing tool to them compared to it being an independent fact checker, and therefore they treat you as a marketing person, whereby they'll call you to publish the things that are right most of the time, and then they give you probably the brown envelopes. But when they do wrong, they'll be a bit reluctant to give you probably documents, or even accommodate you maybe after you have published a true negative story of the things that they did. Therefore, yes, government does not welcome, the majority of the government does not welcome the positive coverage. They are more using the journalist as a marketing tool of the publicity of the positive things that they do. And when they do the negative, there is no reportage around it. And then another thing is that currently, again, if you do, let's say, a negative story, you find yourself in the bad books or in the bad records. You'll be labeled. You'll be labeled like they mistake objective reporting to become witch hunt. They mistake objective reporting as witch hunt. Like probably a governor will maybe have a corruption scandal. Then you cover that story, maybe with the record that of what happened, you clear it. Therefore, if you okay, for you did a professional job, but maybe they may know or they may not know. But the word that will go out is that maybe media X or personal X is affiliated probably to the senator who does checks and balances to the county government. Or if the county government or national government had political wings who are faulting it, you'll be treated that you are siding with those who are faulting it. Therefore, that is the weakness now. You find yourself now at the center of the political game, probably as an accomplice. That's also another weakness. I like them know that you are just independent. If again the same senator does a mistake, you'll still highlight them, though that maybe you've not had the record. So again, that one government impairs maybe the objective reporting.
Sure, thank you. Maybe this one there is the final one. Like what do this is editorial managers consider most when recruiting journalists, graduates for editorial positions?
Okay, number one, they consider how relevant you'll be to the institution vis-a-vis the need they'll be having at that particular minute. That is the first thing, like how relevant you'll be. If it's a Christian TV, do you have the Christian background? If it's a mainstream media, maybe do you have the voice? Not the papers, the voice. Do you have the desired voice? Do you have if it's a Christian church, do you know how to handle a camera? Like the background qualification. That is the first one. And then the second one, the editorial managers today, they prefer the young journalists fresh from the industry, because for them they'll be comfortable with they don't have the family, don't have the huge expenses, and therefore they are comfortable recruiting the amateurs, the fresh graduates, not that they want to give them opportunities, but because they are cheap and don't have much logistics around. Not that again there are many, and like maybe going for the veterans who know how they should be paid and areas around their welfare. Therefore, again, they prefer the young because they are easy to manipulate. That's another priority of the people that the editorial managers prefer. Maybe I believe those two are the major ones.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I believe we've had the best interview. Well, I went beyond the 10 minutes, but I sincerely appreciate your time. Perhaps we can end there, but maybe if you have something you can say maybe in the next 30 seconds, then we close it.
I think around all the issues that you've said, it's upon the Media Council of Kenya coming out clean and playing as a council to represent the media industry by ensuring that they safeguard the interest of the journalists. Then calling upon the Communication Authority of Kenya in the licensing, let them not just license because someone has the funds, whether they don't have the media background per se, but let them do the feasibility studies before fully licensing outlets. We have few but verifiable outlets. And then the Ministry of Education, let it, especially the Committee on the CUE, let it also try to sort out and rig out and weed out the rogue media institutes which are everywhere. Like it's just like the computer packages today. Also, let the Ministry of Education rig out all the rogue media outlets and let it be that those who've learned it professionally, probably maybe through a diploma or a degree, are the ones to be in the industry. Vis-a-vis just anyone who knows how to handle a camera per se, that one it will help reduce the flooded market and just ensure that there is a safe market for those who went an extra mile and picked journalism as their passion and their degree of their course of choice.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ndemo. So we just end it there. Thank you for your time and stay blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.